The sudden passing of Hulk Hogan sent shocked fans worldwide, but what the FBI discovered in his Clearwater mansion hours later has caused even more uproar. The unexpected search revealed something so startling that investigators and fans are struggling to come to terms with it. Known for his iconic wrestling career, Hogan's private life is now under intense scrutiny. But what exactly did the FBI discover inside his luxurious home? And why is everyone saying this changes everything? On the quiet morning of July 24, 2025, the world lost a wrestling icon and cultural figure. Terry Gene Bollea, better known to millions as Hulk Hogan, was found unresponsive in his home in Clearwater, Florida, at the age of 71. Though retired from wrestling for years, Hogan remained an influential presence in pop culture. His trademark mustache, bandana, and famous catchphrases had long become part of sports entertainment history. That morning began like any other at Hogan's $11.5 million waterfront home. Shortly before 11 o'clock in the morning, he reportedly experienced chest pain and dizziness and called 911. Paramedics arrived quickly, performed CPR, and transported him to Morton Plant Hospital, where he was pronounced deceased at 11:17 in the morning. Early reports suggested a possible natural cause, such as a heart attack or stroke, given his age and medical history. Authorities later confirmed that the FBI became involved in the case to review certain details, though officials have not released further specifics. Sheriff Daniel Miller of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office stated during a press briefing that the investigation is ongoing and that there are elements here that raise serious red flags. We owe the family answers, and the truth must come out. It started like any other morning at home in Clearwater, Florida. But just before 11 a.m., everything changed. According to leaked EMS radio, Fire Tower Bravo, Rescue 46, LR 45, Engine 46, cardiac arrest. He was alone and knew something was seriously wrong. Paramedics rushed to the house. When they arrived, they found Hogan collapsed but still alive. They performed CPR and tried to keep him stable. The mansion, usually calm and quiet, was quickly filled with urgency. The medical team moved fast. They placed Hogan on a stretcher and took him out the front door of the mansion, past the palm trees and quiet driveway, and into an ambulance. His terrified neighbors surrounded the scene, watching the medics try to revive him. He was rushed to Morton Plant Hospital, but despite all efforts, he was pronounced dead shortly after arriving. Just days earlier, Hogan had been seen smiling, promoting his wrestling league and beer brand. Though his health had been shaky after recovering from neck surgery and dealing with nerve damage, he seemed to be holding on. The Clearwater mansion, once full of life, became the setting of his unwanted ending and the final place Hulk Hogan ever stood. But here's where things get strange. What happened next would turn a simple medical emergency into something far more sinister. And what the FBI discovered inside that mansion would shock even the most seasoned investigators. The circumstances surrounding his departure stirred something deeper: suspicion. What began as a routine welfare check by his son, Nick Hogan, quickly spiraled into something far more chilling. Hulk's wife, Sky Daly, was away on a short wellness retreat. Nick simply wanted to stop by and see his father. But when he entered the home, what he found was a haunting scene. Hulk Hogan, unresponsive, lying alone in his home gym, a place that had always reflected his iron will, discipline, and undying strength. At first glance, there were no signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle, no obvious trauma. But the gym, usually cluttered with weights, water bottles, and towels, was pristine. Too pristine. One agent described it as eerily sterile, almost staged. Even more troubling, the home's sophisticated security system, including multiple high-definition surveillance cameras and motion sensors, had been completely deactivated. FBI agents noted there was no sign of malfunction or hacking. It had been manually turned off from inside the house. For a man as security-conscious as Hogan, this made no sense. From that moment on, the investigation escalated. The FBI's cybercrime unit began combing through Hogan's digital footprint, phone records, browsing history, smart home logs, and encrypted messages. Simultaneously, agents secured forensic evidence from the home, seeking even the smallest trace that could point to foul play. Then came a chilling revelation from Nick Hogan. Just a day before his death, Hulk Hogan received a mysterious phone call that left him visibly shaken. According to his son Nick, the FBI traced the call to an untraceable number routed through foreign servers, making it a key part of their investigation. Though the contents remain secret, the incident has sparked widespread speculation, with theories ranging from personal vendettas to ties with powerful figures. But what investigators found next would make this mysterious phone call seem like just the beginning. Hidden deep within Hogan's mansion were secrets that nobody, not even his closest family members, knew existed. With the sudden announcement of his passing, questions continue to surround Hulk Hogan's final days. Was he secretly battling an illness? Was there an accident? Here is what was revealed about his health before he passed away. Just last week, Sky Daly, Hogan's wife, spoke out to address growing fears about her husband's condition. Rumors had spread rapidly among fans, some even suggesting Hogan was in a coma or near death. In an Instagram story, Sky set the record straight. No, he's definitely not in a coma. His heart is strong, and there was never any lack of oxygen or brain damage. None of those rumors is true. Her message offered relief to worried fans searching for clarity. The speculation had begun months earlier. Hogan, known for his vibrant public appearances and larger-than-life persona, had not been seen publicly since May. Concern deepened in June when radio personality Todd Clem, also known as Bubba the Love Sponge, claimed Hogan was hospitalized with a severe medical issue and that his family had been summoned to say their goodbyes. These statements quickly spread online, leaving fans shocked and fearing the worst. For decades, Hogan represented strength, charisma, and resilience in professional wrestling. The idea of him lying in a hospital bed, clinging to life, was heartbreaking for millions who grew up watching him dominate the ring. However, Hogan's representatives soon provided clarification. Speaking to TMZ, they confirmed that he had been hospitalized but stressed that the situation was not as grave as rumors suggested. Hogan was receiving treatment for chronic neck and back issues, injuries he had endured for years from his demanding wrestling career. Crucially, they emphasized that he was not in immediate danger. Sky's comments reinforced this reassurance, offering a personal perspective as someone closest to him. She described a man living with pain but still strong in spirit. Fans around the world breathed a collective sigh of relief. Yet despite these reassurances, Hogan's sudden passing just days later has left many stunned. Friends like Jimmy Hart and Sky Daly insisted he had been recovering well, making the news of his death even more difficult to comprehend. Now, investigators are uncovering details suggesting his final days may not have been as peaceful as previously believed, raising even more questions about what happened. Enjoyed the video? Before we continue, don't forget to ring the bell, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. It truly helps me out, and I promise to bring you even more awesome content. In May 2025, Hulk Hogan made his last appearance on television during an interview on Fox and Friends. He was there to promote Real American Freestyle, the new wrestling league he had started with his longtime friend Eric Bischoff. Even though he had just come out of neck surgery, Hogan looked upbeat and excited to be back in front of the cameras. However, it was clear that he had become much weaker over the past few months, and his appearance hinted that he was overworking himself. Hogan himself admitted he was exhausted. During an interview believed to be one of his final recordings, he casually said, "I need to take a nap, brother." "Good to see you, man. I need to take a nap, bro. I need to take a nap. I am worn out from LA to New York City. I am totally worn out." He wore his classic bandana and bright blonde hair, but what really caught everyone's attention was his beard. It had a striking two-tone look which quickly stirred up talk online. During the segment, Hogan spoke passionately about the new league and ended the interview with his famous line, "It's going to be crazy, brother." Still, some viewers noticed he looked thinner than usual. He used a cane and, according to reports, sometimes needed oxygen. These were signs that his health was fading. Despite rumors about him being paralyzed or in a coma, his wife Sky Daly and manager, Jimmy Hart, both denied it. Sky said he was mentally sharp and not brain damaged. Jimmy even described him as phenomenal after a karaoke night with his son. That May appearance turned out to be his final goodbye, and fans have been left wondering why there was such a sudden decline in his health. But what fans didn't know was that behind the scenes, Hogan was dealing with pressures that went far beyond his physical ailments. Sources close to the investigation reveal that in his final weeks, Hogan had become increasingly paranoid, constantly checking his security systems and expressing fears about being watched. What was he so afraid of? And who did he think was coming for him? In the final years of his life, Hulk Hogan's name sparked as much controversy as admiration. His legacy as a wrestling icon endured, but scandals continued to follow him well into his 70s. A turning point came in July 2015, when a private audio recording from 2007 surfaced, revealing Hogan repeatedly using a racial slur and admitting to racist views. The backlash was immediate. WWE cut ties, removed him from their website, pulled merchandise, and suspended his Hall of Fame status. Hogan issued a public apology, saying those words did not reflect who he was, but the damage lingered. In 2018, after years of apologies and public outreach, WWE reinstated him into the Hall of Fame. Even then, opinions were split. When Hogan returned to Monday Night Raw in early 2025, fans booed him as he wore pro-Trump apparel and promoted his Real American beer brand. The return felt more divisive than celebratory. Another lasting scandal was the Gawker intimate tape case. It began in 2012 when a recording surfaced of Hogan with Heather Clem, then wife of his friend Bubba the Love Sponge. Hogan sued Gawker for invasion of privacy, and in 2016, a jury awarded him $115 million. The case later settled for $31 million and bankrupted Gawker, becoming one of the most discussed media lawsuits of the decade. Hogan's personal life also faced turmoil. His 2009 divorce from Linda Hogan made headlines, with accusations of infidelity and emotional neglect. Their family struggles, including a strained relationship with his son Nick, unfolded publicly amid media attention and Nick's legal troubles. His political stances further polarized fans. Hogan openly supported Donald Trump, even appearing at the 2024 Republican National Convention. What had once been seen as patriotic showmanship now came across to some as divisive. Within wrestling circles, Hogan was often accused of using backstage influence to protect his image, refusing to lose matches to rising stars like Jeff Jarrett or legends like Bret Hart. Critics, including The Undertaker and Mick Foley, frequently questioned his wrestling ability and self-serving booking. Now, FBI investigators suspect these controversies may connect to something far darker, secrets powerful people wanted to keep hidden. Hogan's death may not mark the end of his story, but the beginning of a deeper investigation into the worlds of entertainment and politics. Behind the fame, muscles, and iconic bandana, Terry Bollea was simply a father, husband, and friend. While the world knew him as Hulk Hogan, those closest to him knew him as Terry, a man who loved Florida's beaches, home-cooked meals, and reminiscing about old wrestling days. His marriage to Sky Daly brought stability into his life. A respected yoga instructor, she introduced him to wellness routines and mindfulness that helped him find peace in his later years. Hogan's son, Nick, often described him as being in remarkable shape for someone in his 70s, following strict diets, meditation, and precise training. Dad was in better shape than most 40-year-olds, Nick said, noting his father was cautious and disciplined in his workouts. Sky's brief absence before his death added to the heartbreak. According to Nick, Hogan had been counting the days until she returned, describing her as his grounding force and source of calm. Despite decades of fame, Hogan had embraced a quieter life in Clearwater. Locals frequently spotted him enjoying coffee by the water, greeting fans at his beachside store, or participating in charity events. He was more than a celebrity, he was a hometown figure many admired. The final 48 hours of his life, however, have drawn intense focus from investigators. Text messages with longtime friend Kevin Nash just 2 days earlier suggested nothing was wrong. "We were joking about a show he'd been watching," Nash recalled. He seemed energized and upbeat. After his passing, fans gathered outside his shop, leaving flowers, candles, and yellow bandanas. Messages of gratitude covered the sidewalk. "Thanks for the strength, Hulk." And hero always, reflecting how deeply he resonated with generations who grew up on his words about courage and perseverance. But behind the public tributes, new revelations surfaced. According to FBI sources, Hogan had confided to friends in recent months that he felt watched. He installed extra security cameras, hired a private consultant to sweep for listening devices, and expressed growing unease. What could have unsettled the man who once faced giants in the ring? Investigators believe the answer may lie in what they discovered locked inside his safe. One of the major theories surrounding Hulk Hogan's passing involves discussions about his history of steroid use. Decades of intense physical activity in wrestling left him with serious injuries. He underwent numerous surgeries, used prescribed painkillers, and has openly acknowledged that steroids were part of how he managed the strain on his body. In the early 1990s, Hogan became a central figure in the widely reported steroid trials. In 1991, he testified in a federal case involving WWE owner Vince McMahon, admitting under oath that he had used anabolic steroids to help recover from injuries. While it was not illegal at the time and he faced no charges, the revelation damaged his once clean-cut image. For fans who remembered his message to train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins, the admission was difficult to reconcile. Hogan later reinvented himself in WCW as Hollywood Hogan, turning heel and achieving one of wrestling's most notable career comebacks. However, his personal health continued to decline. Over the years, he underwent multiple surgeries. In 2025, just months before his death, Hogan had a major neck procedure that reportedly left him with breathing difficulties and limited mobility. Publicly, he maintained his Hulkster persona, but privately, he struggled with chronic pain. Medical experts have frequently warned about the long-term health risks of steroid use. While it has not been confirmed that this contributed to his passing at 71, some believe it could be a factor. Adding to the complexity, unconfirmed reports from sources connected to the ongoing FBI investigation suggest that toxicology tests may have detected a rare compound in his system, a substance not typically linked to standard steroids. Investigators have not disclosed details and its significance remains unclear. This has led to speculation among observers about whether the findings point to natural causes, long-term health complications, or something requiring further investigation. Do you think Hulk Hogan's death was purely the result of his long-term health struggles, or do the toxicology findings suggest there's more to this story? Let us know in the comments below. Tributes have poured in worldwide as news of Hulk Hogan's death sends shockwaves through wrestling and beyond. From fellow legends to actors and political figures, many honored the man who helped define modern wrestling and left a lasting mark on pop culture. Ric Flair, one of Hogan's closest friends and longtime rivals, shared an emotional tribute. "I am shocked by the passing of my close friend Hulk Hogan. He was there for me when I was at my lowest. He prayed by my bedside when doctors gave me a 2% chance to live and even helped my family financially. No one will ever compare to him." Donald Trump praised Hogan's charisma and cultural impact, recalling his speech at the Republican National Convention and offering condolences to his wife Skye and family. Sylvester Stallone, who co-starred with Hogan in Rocky IE, described him as a brilliant performer and said his heart was broken. John Cena simply posted, "Rip Legend." The Undertaker honored him as a true pioneer whose contributions were immeasurable. WWE issued a formal statement calling Hogan one of the most recognizable figures in pop culture and offering condolences to his loved ones. Amid the tributes, speculation grew. Several wrestlers quietly backed out of attending his memorial, citing scheduling conflicts. Industry insiders suggest legal teams may have advised them to avoid any involvement, though no reasons have been officially confirmed. At the time of his death, Hogan's net worth was estimated between $24 and $25 million. At his peak, he was worth around $30 million, but legal battles and an expensive divorce reduced his fortune. His real estate history is legendary. In 1992, he bought a waterfront lot in Bel Air, Florida, for $2 million and built a 17,000 square foot mansion with a gym, theater, private docks, and a waterfall pool. It once listed for $26 million but sold for $6 million in 2012. Later, he purchased a $3.3 million Clearwater estate and a neighboring property for $1.6 million in 2016. Hogan also had an impressive car collection, including classic Mopars like a 1968 Dodge Charger RT, a 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner, and a rare 1971 Plymouth Cuda. He also owned modern powerhouses like a 2021 Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat. Adding intrigue, investigators are reviewing significant changes Hogan made to his will just 3 weeks before his death, including new offshore trusts and asset transfers. Authorities are working to determine why these changes were made and whether they connect to ongoing financial or legal matters. Hogan did not stop evolving. After leaving WWF in 1993, he joined WCW in 1994, and by 1996, flipped the script by becoming the villainous Hollywood Hogan. He formed the New World Order, redefining wrestling's attitude era and pulling off one of the most iconic heel turns of all time. In 2025, Hogan attempted a big return on WWE Raw's Netflix debut, but it did not go as he hoped. Fans booed as he appeared wearing political gear and promoting his Real American beer brand. His strong support for Donald Trump made the crowd even more divided. For many, it was a reminder that Hogan's legacy was no longer simple hero worship. Outside of wrestling, Hogan tried to keep the business machine running. He opened restaurants like Hogan's Beach, launched gear and gadgets like the Hulk Hogan Thunder Mixer, and co-founded a short-lived wrestling company called Real American Freestyle. In 2024, he even rolled out his beer label. By then, Hogan had begun focusing more on sobriety, faith, and staying out of the spotlight unless it was for a meaningful cause. Hogan's final years were rocky. The lawsuits, surgeries, public fallout, and controversies were hard to ignore. But at the same time, his impact on wrestling, entertainment, and pop culture is impossible to deny. He did not just run wild in the ring, he built a brand, inspired generations, and became one of the most recognizable faces in the world. Whether you loved him or were frustrated by him, Hulk Hogan was the guy. The bandana, the mustache, the voice, the pose, nobody else did it quite like him. He made millions cheer, shaped an entire industry, and left behind a story that is part superhero saga, part cautionary tale. But what investigators discovered in his final business dealings suggests there was much more going on behind the scenes than anyone realized. Financial records show that in his last 6 months, Hogan had been in contact with several high-profile attorneys specializing in federal criminal defense. Phone records indicate multiple calls to law firms in Washington, D.C. and New York, firms known for handling cases involving organized crime and political corruption. What kind of legal trouble was Hogan anticipating? And did someone decide to silence him before he could reveal what he knew? As the FBI investigation into Hulk Hogan's passing continues, startling details have emerged about what agents discovered inside his mansion. Hidden behind a false wall in his study, they found professional recording equipment and dozens of unmarked storage devices with timestamps from hours before his death. Forensic analysis of his computer revealed searches for federal witness protection programs and relocation to countries without extradition treaties. Investigators are also reviewing unusual movements by Hogan the day before he died. Cell phone data shows his phone pinged towers near a remote industrial site, a private airfield, and a federal building in St. Petersburg, locations far outside his normal routine. The last call he made before his death lasted 47 minutes and was routed through international servers, making it nearly impossible to trace. Within hours of his passing being announced, a cleaning crew entered the mansion without the family's knowledge. Security footage also shows unidentified vehicles, including a black SUV with government plates, arriving at the property before his body was discovered. The most shocking discovery came when agents opened Hogan's personal safe, documents and recordings allegedly implicating high-profile figures in financial fraud, political corruption, and secret dealings within the wrestling industry. A handwritten letter dated 2 days before his death stated, "If something happens to me, everything you need is in this safe. Do not let them bury the truth with me." Federal agents are now working to authenticate these materials. If even part of them is verified, it could become one of the largest corruption scandals in American history. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot to us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being with us. Leave a comment, like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button for more exciting videos. See you next time.